Hey everybody! I'm here to go live with you guys to talk about compulsive snacking and nighttime eating. And I'm just getting my live set up here. So important for me to know if people can hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and hang out right here on the live and see as people start tuning in. We have a little over 3 minutes or so to get started in talking about this very common thing with compulsive snacking and nighttime eating, which is what the majority of women who come to see me often talk about, they believe is the problem that they're dealing with. And so I want to make sure that I can talk to you guys about some of the issues that I see that go along with that, what the real problem is, and why it's not healthier options for food. So as I sit here and wait for the live, I'll tell you a little bit about my day. My daughter Jillian is 5. She has been sick for 2 days. Today, she finally feels better, but she had to be home from school. Made it very challenging. I had to take a couple calls, and of course, she's like barging in, and that creates a low level of anxiety, right? Where your kid is just interrupting you all the time. You can't get the things done. My house is a disaster. She made a workout room in my living room. She made a fort in the workout room. The pull-out couch is taken out all the way with blankets and cozy things, and it's going to be fine. But if you're anything like me, low levels of anxiety that come in with unanticipated events that happen in our lives that we don't have control over can also lead to compulsive snacking and even nighttime eating, right? After a day like this, I definitely feel like I want to go crawl onto the couch, put on a show, and dive into a deep bowl of popcorn, right? Or at least I used to. So I don't really feel like that anymore. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and just see how we're doing here in the feed so I can make sure that you guys can hear me. Still waiting to see some comments here in the comment box. I'm going to go ahead and try something I've never tried before. I'm going to make a poll. What snack do you gravitate towards? So we are talking about compulsive snacking and nighttime eating, the day or night. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here, and we'll put some options in here. We'll say sweet, salty, cold, crunchy. So let me know again in the comments, just having a little fun with you guys. It's 5 o'clock and our live is going to start in a second. I'm just making a poll here to see what you guys gravitate towards. I created a poll to see if you like sweet, salty, crunchy, cold types of snacks, and I'll go ahead and check in with that poll in a little bit to see what types of snacks you guys gravitate towards when you feel like you're compulsively snacking or you are nighttime eating, because I want to tell you about the impact of that on your body physiologically, but also psychologically, what is going on for you. So I see 2 people have tuned in. You guys can go ahead and answer the poll if you see it. I see a cookie emoji, so that means sweets. And go ahead, anybody else who's here watching, please go ahead and let me know what snack you gravitate towards in compulsive snacking or nighttime eating. You can let me know with an emoji, a GIF. You can try to answer the poll. It's the first time I've ever used it, so I'm looking to see. Oh, I can activate it. Let's see, activate the poll. I'm activating it. All right, it's active. So see if you see that and you can answer it. This is a little fun. I haven't created a poll before in a Facebook Live. So go ahead and mark down what snack you gravitate towards. And I see they all say 0%. This is fascinating information. So again, as we get started here, I just want to know what it is that you reach for, and don't judge yourself for it. There's a physiological reason and a response that you're having either to things that are going on in your body or with your emotions, usually unresolved stress. It's leading you to do that. So today we're going to go ahead and explore that. So far in the poll, I see people go straight to salty, 100%. And that's so interesting. So I'm curious of where are my sweet folks or my folks that go to the cold section of their freezer. or the ones that go into a bucket of popcorn. So I want to know about all of the snacking that you guys see and that you judge yourself for, because it's important to know a little bit about yourself and just to be able to see yourself that way without seeing yourself broken. So I'm going to go ahead as we continue to wait for people to populate the live. I want to open up with a story about a Weight Watchers meeting. And this was a meeting that I had, God, it must have been at least 15 years ago. And I was in New York City, and I'm sitting there with my Weight Watchers group, and the topic was on emotional eating. And the first thing I thought was, wow, this is great. This is going to be for me. Like that makes sense to me. I know what emotional eating is. And the person who was leading it opened up, and I kid you not, and she said, I'm looking to you guys to tell me about emotional eating, because she didn't know what it was. This is a person leading a Weight Watchers meeting who literally thought that the only problem that there was the difference between a bag of potato chips and a bag of salty cucumbers. Okay. And so what I'm here to tell you is that when she told me that, I felt so misunderstood. And I felt like, how can a person who's trying to lead me through change tell me that she doesn't know what emotional eating was? Meanwhile, the night before, I was so frustrated with myself going to the bottom of a bucket of Nutella that I threw it down 5 flights of stairs. Now, if you work with me, you've probably heard this story before, but it's true. And emotional eating is real. And it's definitely a part of the root causes of unresolved stress that we experience that often lead to compulsive snacking or nighttime eating, in addition to the physiological things. It's not about replacing it with the healthy food, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Okay? All right, so how many times have you, because I have also, started a healthy diet with a focus on food counting or replacing, but you've given up? Most people who are in this group or who work with me often reach out because they're tired of giving up on themselves. Okay, so if that sounds like you, I want you to go ahead and tell me in the comments, yeah, I've done so many and I've given up. And that's because I'm going to tell you why. It's not a problem with you. It's the diet, because diets typically emphasize replacement of healthy foods instead of understanding the emotional body, which is the utmost priority for any of us in any given moment. And maybe Weight Watchers addresses that now somehow. 15 years ago, no. But what I also know, and most of you know, if you've worked with me or listened to my lives, is that tracking and loading your healthy versus unhealthy choices into an app also isn't good enough. And so if those systems have failed you in some way, or you've looked back and said, well, I'm a failure, I don't have enough willpower to overcome this, that's also not true. And so that system is actually broken. Okay. And so the other thing that I want you to know and let you off the hook here is that I don't care how many articles are sent to you from a diet that you can read about what's healthy for you and not healthy for you. That's science, not psychology. So you can read a million things about what's good for you and say, wow, that makes sense. I'm going to make healthier choices. But without resolving some of the stress that you may be feeling, or emotional things or dissatisfaction you may be experiencing, there's no way that that's going to be something that you can do for the long haul. Okay, so let's get right into it. In this live, I'll be asking a lot of questions, and I'm going to try to be interacting with you guys. So I want to see all your emojis, your hellos, your questions, and your reactions. So right now, show me some love with a heart or a smiley face. Even if you're watching on the replay, I just want to know that I have your full attention, because I've put a lot of thought into presenting this to you guys today, and to being able to give you some things to think about and to do right now to help resolve the issue of compulsive snacking and nighttime eating, which is one of the #1 things that I help women do. So if you're here and you're listening and you're ready, please go ahead and drop some sort of indication that you're ready. Awesome. I see a heart. Hi, Alexa. Hey, Michelle. So glad you guys are here. Thanks for showing me the love. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, definitely continue to show me the love so I can see who I'm engaging with here in this amazing group that we have. Okay, so the big problem and the reason you're here today, you're curious and you recognize that compulsive snacking and nighttime eating is a problem, but you don't know how to slow it down. You don't have a solution yet. So the first thing that I want to do is offer you the physiological impacts of compulsive snacking and nighttime eating. So what I could do is sit here and show you a caloric comparison that over the course of a day, whoa, if you're compulsively snacking, this is how many calories you have. And if you're not compulsively snacking or nighttime eating, this is how many calories you limit yourself. Okay, but that kind of comparison and that kind of chart has never helped me stop the thing. And so I don't expect that kind of thing to stop you, right? That's logic and reasoning. I'm talking about you as a human being. We aren't robots. We're not computing things. We're actually thinking about how to live our lives. Okay, so when I talk about physiology, I'm not talking about calories in, calories out, deficits and surpluses. I'm talking about the way that your unique physical body responds to food on a lot of different levels, not what it looks like or how much you're putting in or taking away. I'm talking more about your hormones, your digestion, and your nervous system, which is where all of your emotional body lives. So let's talk about hormones for a minute. Most of us think of hormones as PMS, pregnancy, and menopause. But they actually have an extremely active role in regulating our mood and our energy levels, which are two huge components in my signature program, is to balance those out. If we're in a good mood, things feel better. We're less likely to go and reach for things to try to stimulate our moods, and then our energy levels also improve. So that's a natural result of balancing our hormones. When we compulsively snack without thought or care to our emotional bodies, we're looking for typically stimulation. Usually because we're tired or we're bored. So if that sounds like something that you go through, you're like really tired or you get bored and so you start fiddling around. We all work from home, most of us now, right? You get bored with what you're doing in your job, you go to the pantry, you start fiddling around and you're trying to find the thing to keep you stimulated. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you experience. You're like, oh yeah, boredom for me, or tiredness. You're like in the middle of the day, you're kind of over it. You want to consume something in order to bring your energy levels up. That's normal, you guys. Like, it's normal for you to want to feel better. So again, let yourself off the hook for feeling bored or tired, because those are unpleasant feelings. So let's acknowledge that they're unpleasant. But the thing is that we associate these feelings, tired or bored, as negative. They can be unpleasant, but they can also be used as leverage to make change. So in order to snap out of it, what we typically do is look for the quickest and most effective way possible to get out of that. We're human. We don't want to feel that way. And so usually that's a quick sugar, or for you guys watching the live, most of you answered the poll, a salty thing, an uptake to release dopamine or feel good serotonin to get us interested again. Okay, so you may be reaching for something because your boredom and your tiredness is so unbearable that you're looking for something to get you interested again. But the even bigger mistake that we make is that we see eating as something we should be able to do in order to control our size, our bodies, and our weight. So what we're doing is we start scrounging around and we go to the pantry and then we start eating the things. And what happens after that is that it's not just the disruption of hormones, but what happens is that we start to feel guilty. We start to feel guilty about the choice that we're making. Oh, I'm eating chips. Oh, I'm eating chocolate. Oh, I'm eating ice cream. Oh, I'm eating cake. And we feel guilty about that choice. So what do? Then we're like, I'm going to switch to a healthier option. I'm going to switch to a healthier option. I'm going to do hummus and cucumber, or hummus and carrots instead, right? But the problem is, guys, is that we don't like that option either. So you go back to the unhealthier option, and then what do? We blame self-control as the problem. Well, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough control. I don't have enough self-control. But the problem actually is boredom and tiredness. Right? Because in the beginning we said, oh, I'm bored, I'm tired, I want the thing. But then we start to blame the food, and then we blame ourselves, and then we have the guilt, and then we think that it's self-control. But if all you really want to do is ignite boredom and tiredness differently, that requires something completely different than willpower. It's actually a mindset shift. It's seeing the truth about dissatisfaction in your life, the roles you're playing, the things that you're doing, and what you're willing and unwilling to do. It's taking ownership of your feelings, allowing them to be there, and deciding that you are the creator of your life. And food is not a solution to that. So if you're having a Hail Mary, like, come to, oh my goodness, I'm not afraid to speak the truth. So I want you guys to know that number one, you're not alone in that. This is my expertise. This is what I do. And I don't follow you around or put secret cameras in your home. I just am really familiar with that cycle. So here we were looking for something simple and snacking solutions when at the core of it is unresolved emotional stress. No wonder 95% of diets fail people. I'm not saying 95% of people who diet fail. I'm saying those diets are failing people. 95% of the time. No one's talking about this. Okay? For me in the middle of the day, and you guys can let me know. So we've got boredom and tiredness, right? For compulsive snacking. For me, it's actually anxiety is one of the big things that comes up for me. And so anytime that I'm transitioning to pick up my kids or go somewhere, like I grab the keys or I'm about to go get the keys, the pantry is along the way, I open the pantry. I feel the panic set in as if the food is a perfectly fine excuse for me to have and put off the next thing, which is transitioning, right? Which is the anxiety. I can't handle the anxiety of the next thing. It's too much. I'm afraid of too much. So much is coming in at me. The food gives me a chance to slow down and to try to be okay in a moment of fear, anxiety, and not wanting to. So if that is what you think leads to your compulsive snacking, then put it in the comments. So I want to open my heart to you and tell you that you're not alone and that anxiety-based compulsive snacking is super common and it's something that we all go through, but we don't talk about enough. Okay, so what are your snacking issues? Boredom, tired, anxiety? Is it all of them? Are you realizing something about yourself right now that you didn't really know before? Because I have a solution for you at the end of this live, and we're going to get there in a second after I talk about nighttime eating. Okay, so let's talk about the physiological and psychological impacts of nighttime eating. Eating dinner late and snacking after 8 p.m. causes a ton of physiological problems. So if you suffer from any of these, this simple switch for you could be helpful, but we're not willing to make the switch unless we address the unresolved symptoms of stress, right? So just consider for yourself, oh boy, I do suffer from that. Just put a little bookmark in there, okay? Acid reflux, indigestion, postnasal drip, low stomach acid, chronic throat clearing, coughing, asthma. So those kinds of things can really be ramped up with nighttime eating compulsive snacking. When you eat late at night, also, your body can't focus on important processes like restoration and cognitive function and memory. And so one of the components of my program, when I talk about focus and digestion, is about this nighttime eating issue. And so we go through this together and install proper nighttime habits. But the problem is that it's really hard to stop that train once you're in it. And the biggest disruptor of all, out of all of those things, is alcohol. Eating late and drinking into the night actually makes you hungrier the next day. So what does this mean? If you eat late at night, it will also lead to compulsive snacking. But again, eating late at night isn't a choice that we always want to make. It's something that's in us that sometimes we feel compelled to do. Like we can't help ourselves. And we keep giving ourselves permission and we keep giving our power away thinking that, geez, if I can only have the healthier option, then I'll be healthier. But your health doesn't start with food. And I know my program is the energetic eating method, but it's all of the energy you're generating in order to be able to have the foods that you deserve in a life you love. And if it was easy as me sitting here and telling you not to eat after 8 p.m., then I would. Try it. Try not eating after 8 p.m. Most of you know that. But the problem isn't the eating, and it's not for lack of knowledge that you have about it, right? It's what I told you in the beginning. It's not that you're going to read a bunch of science articles and say, oh my God, my life has changed. That makes sense now. It's the emotions that we are suppressing or trying to have when we decide to plop down on the couch or head into the freezer. And just like compulsive snacking, replacing it with a healthier option isn't helpful. I can't stress this enough to you guys that packing on healthy foods on top of unresolved stress is the leading problem to the failure and guilt mindset because we think it's willpower when it's not. So what are the main reasons for nighttime eating then, right? Compulsive snacking, we said tired, bored, anxiety. So whether you're sitting with a bag of carrots or a pint of ice cream, we are still communicating to your body that your physiological and emotional needs are not worth paying attention to, but that dieting or choosing the healthier consumption in a time of stress is. It's still consumption to ignore and numb out. And what those feelings that you're trying to numb out are being tired, lonely, or, I know you guys can relate, wanting me time. How many of you are parents of young children and you just want me time? How many of you go through really long, tough work days and then you just want to let it go and have some me time? Raise your hands. Me too. I just got onto this call and I was sharing with you guys about that. What a freaking day. Oh my God. I want to be alone. I want me time. I want to eat what I want. I want to watch what I want. I want to do what I want. Hashtag do what we want. You're exhausted. You want some peace and quiet and you want something from you, for you. I get it. But feeding tired, lonely, and getting me time with food is confusing for your body. It starts to mistake your body for other things. It mistakes tiredness for being ready to wake up. So you're literally doing the opposite, right? It mistakes companionship for food. So you're lonely, you look for food, it thinks companionship is food. You're generating memories in your body over and over again that food is a solution to loneliness. And then me time as connecting to eating instead of connection to self. You can have me time, but let's define me time as connecting with me, connecting with myself, not connecting with food, not numbing out, right? If you want me time, let's go get some me time. Let's do it. Let's be really honest about that and go get some me time. So I want you to imagine yourself in that situation if nighttime eating is the issue that you deal with and what you actually might need. Do you need to go to bed? Do you need to go have a conversation, reach out to a friend, call someone, go connect with a spouse or your kid? Do you need to go love yourself more? So we believe that we have to have something to eat instead of something to love. Your bed, yourself, somebody else. Yeah? And then there's this other part where we start to install these beliefs, or we feel like I don't understand why I have to have something sweet after dinner or drink after dinner. And then we start feeding that belief over and over again that we can't kick that habit. And our attention is on the food over and over again. I have to stop having that wine. I have to stop the nighttime eating. But again, that leads to the guilt instead of the unresolved stress. It also leads to the biological message that I'm unwilling to give myself what I need. I'm not going to take rest. I'm not going to connect with someone, and I'm not going to settle my body down or to connect with me. So sometimes it's just plain ready to connect with yourself, and it's not about the healthier option. Okay, so if that resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if that resonates with you. Nighttime eating, that's my thing. You don't have to tell me if it's loneliness or if it's your me time or any of that, right? But just let me know. Holy cow, it's the nighttime eating. Okay, all right, I see. And are you willing to work on it? If you're willing to work on it, let me know in the comments because I'm going to give you something to do to work on it. Say, yes, I'm willing to work on it. Tell me, Helen, tell me what to do. I would like to resolve this because I'm not going to give you guys healthier food options for it. We're going to go deeper. Diets have taught us only one way of doing things. And the thing that drives us crazy is that we keep doing it over and over again, looking for a new result. And time again, that hummus midday and the switch to carrots in front of the TV isn't working. Catherine says, yes, I want to work on it. Woo! Yeah, girl. All right. So stick with me for a second because I'm going to tell you how it works. Okay? And I want you guys to think about this. If you stop focusing on changing the food, focus on changing your thoughts instead. Because if that works, and this is what works for me and my clients, you go through the whole day not having an obsession over the food that you're choosing, followed by the guilt, followed by the bad food choice, followed by the failure. And instead, you begin to peel the layers of dissatisfaction away and do something about it to change your life as a whole. So I have a client whose Achilles heel was her evening ice cream. If that's you, whoop, whoop. Not my client, but if you also, if ice cream is your thing, let me know. Every night after the kids were in bed, the ice cream would come out. She knew that she didn't want to do it, but she couldn't stop herself. She tried healthy replacements, and time again, it didn't work. This time with me, she also tried healthy replacements again. So stick with me. She tried a bowl of yogurt with unlimited amounts of honey, just like blah, just like putting it all over, like as sweet as it can be. Then she realized after a while it was too sweet. So then she lessened the amount of honey. Then she didn't want the honey at all. Then she didn't want the yogurt at all. And now nighttime eating isn't a thing unless she wants it to be a thing. Like I decide when I want to have something. And I know what you guys are thinking, but Helen, you said the healthier option doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't. I never told her to do that with the yogurt, by the way. She just decided the ice cream wasn't an option anymore. But why? Okay? Her willingness to give that up didn't come from substituting it with yogurt. When she worked with me through my signature program, she didn't focus on the food. She was focusing on how to zone in on the most important parts of her life, using her thoughts, her foods, and her actions to fuel herself in a joyful career, a connected family life, and an energetic body that could do whatever she wanted to. She wanted to work out more. That was important to her. She wanted to spend more time with her kids and feel energetic. That was important to her. She had some creativity that had been unrealized and had been on the back burner. That was important to her. Okay, so it's the reflective connection that you make when you're willing to try something small and to think about what's actually happening and to get in touch with the thoughts you have about yourself that break habits once and for all, not the replacement itself. So on the road to replacing, if that is your option, I just want to make sure that you're really cognizant of what's happening with the replacement and the uncomfortable feelings that you might have and what it is that you're doing that for. And never make it about the weight. That doesn't work. Okay, so that's the benefit that she had of working with me, is that, okay, I'm going to do the yogurt thing, and we got to get into the emotional and psychological body. Another client, this is just the other week actually, only a week in, she said to me, I was about to go sit on the couch and reach for my snack. This is a nighttime eating thing. But I realized I had just ate dinner. I'm not that hungry. So I sat there. I got extremely uncomfortable. I realized I just couldn't sit there. I had to be productive. I had to iron, fold, and clean up. My problem isn't about the snacking. It's that I just feel like I always have to produce. Whoa. This is in 1 week, okay? So this amazing woman in 1 week identified this really important question to resolve in the next 12 weeks of her journey with me that influences her compulsive snacking and nighttime eating. How can I slow down and value myself so much instead of placing value on what I produce and what I do? How do I value me? This whole time, food had a connection to how she valued her time. Food was important enough, but she wasn't. So do you guys see the difference? It's not even about the food. Replacing or putting something to the side and deciding that you're not going to do that thing is more than deficit of calories or going on a diet or losing weight. It's understanding that there's something uncomfortable there that's worth uncovering, and when you do, your whole life opens up. Your whole life opens up, and you don't care about that snacking anymore. And I work with women who've tried everything to find the diet that works with them, but they haven't tuned into their own true needs, and that's my job. And so all anyone wants is a proven plan. I know you guys are here to figure out what to do about this. So what I want you to do right now is to get a piece of paper. I'll also paste these into the chat, but it could be helpful for you to write this down. And you're going to write down the top 5 unresolved emotions that fuel compulsive snacking and nighttime eating, and the thoughts that I want you to have instead. So once you see the thoughts that you can access or that might be available to you, you can start to make a plan to what action you want to take instead of the food. The actions for all of my clients are unique to them. And so what I want to encourage you to do when I give you these 5 thoughts and the thoughts you can have instead is to have this internal dialogue and conversation with yourself about, well, when I fuel myself with these positive thoughts instead of reaching for the food or for the healthier option, what am I realizing? What am I willing to do? What action or lifestyle thing do I need instead? And go and do that thing. Okay, so here it is. The first one is I'm tired. So if you've been watching this and you heard me talk a little bit about the tired part, so when you hear yourself, you see yourself go and reach for the thing, and then you recognize I'm tired, then the positive affirmation that you can choose for yourself is to say, I choose rest. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. All right, so here's the first one. Okay, I'm tired. I choose rest. Okay, so I don't know what that means to you. Can you lie down? Can you shut your eyes for a moment? Can you get a drink of water? Can you do a meditation? Are you going to go for a walk? Whatever is restful and restorative for you. When you feel tired, choose rest. Just decide, when I feel tired, I choose rest. The more you repeat those thoughts to yourself, the more the right action is going to be clear. Okay? If boredom is your issue, I'm going to put that in here, then I want you to acknowledge that you're ready to take action. So often we mistake boredom as something that we're kind of stuck in. And the reason that we're reaching for food is because we're actually ready to take action in our lives, but we don't have the right action step to take. And so what do? We're like, I'm ready, so I'm going to eat. We mistake readiness or boredom, which is actually a sign of being ready for something more stimulating, as a reason to eat. So instead, I want you to say to yourself, okay, boy, wow, I'm really ready to take action. I'm bored. I'm ready to take action right now. So what's it going to be? What's it going to be for myself? The third thing that I talked about tonight is anxiety. So when you feel the anxiety come in, what I often say to myself when I'm on my way out the door and I'm about to get the kids, or I see a pile of laundry, or anything where I'm anxious and I go into an avoidant state, number one thing I say to myself, I know, it says I'm no. It's supposed to say I know the right next step. I know the right next step. Just take the right next step. The right next step inherently doesn't include food, especially if I've been eating or if I'm full. Sometimes it might. Maybe the next right action is something to eat. Your blood sugar drops. Maybe you didn't have breakfast yet. Sometimes it is that. But when it comes to compulsive snacking or nighttime eating and anxiety, then the right next step is not going to be eating. So the thoughts that we can have about ourselves instead, when you feel yourself doing that and you know it's coming from an anxiety state, identify it. This is anxiety. This is what that feels like. Okay. Well, I'm ready to take the right next step. I know what it is. And take that next step. Just a small one. The whole day isn't waiting for you. The next moment is waiting for you. Okay, and for the nighttime eating stuff, like the most typical one, the loneliness piece. So when you start to feel that, you're like, boy, I'm lonely, my partner isn't home, or you're feeling alone and unsupported. I want you to say to yourself, it's time to ask. Oh boy, my typos are bad tonight, guys. Man, it's time to ask. Sorry. It's time to ask for what I need. Be decisive about that. I feel lonely. You know what? That's because it's time for me to ask for what I need. I don't need to be alone. I can feel supported. I'm going to ask for what I need. Loneliness is a product of looking around us and feeling unsupported, right? Unsupported in our emotions or in our life, or in the chores that we have available to ourselves, or just sort of feeling abandoned. So ask for what you need. It's time for me to ask for what I need. Who that is that you need to ask for, I don't know, right? Like, your life is unique to you. But when you feel the loneliness, it's time to ask for what I need. Empower yourself to step out of it. Okay? Maybe what you need is some solitary time, but an affirmation is going to help lead you to the truth about what that is. Okay. And then the other one, I want me time. All those crazy job working and mama working people. I want me time. I know myself best when I'm taking care of myself. Yeah, that little voice comes in. You want to go get the ice cream, plop down on the couch and watch the television show, and you're ready for it. And you're like, yeah, you know what? Catch yourself. Notice what's happening. You know you want me time. This is your moment. So say to yourself, I know myself best when I'm taking care of myself. If you want me time, I said this before, you want me time, get in touch with yourself. You are doing the opposite of having me time. You're having ice cream time. You're having TV time. That's not me time. That's something else time. That's numb out time. You don't get to know yourself through that. You're becoming a stranger to yourself. So instead, you can say, I know myself best when I'm taking care of myself. Boy, who wants to know themselves? You want to know yourself on a deep level. Taking care of yourself will always lead you there. I promise. I know myself best when I'm taking care of myself. We mistake these other things as taking care of ourselves. Like, oh, I love and accept myself, even though I'm, treating myself this way. That's crap, you guys. I love and accept myself enough to make efforts in my life to know who I am and the choices that work for me and the choices that don't. So we can be super real about this. So when you see that, try it. Here I go again. You know what? I know myself best when I'm taking care of myself. Write it on a sticky, put it on the pantry, put it on the ice cream drawer, whatever it is. Remind yourself, oh, well, this isn't getting to know myself. Once you guys have these 5 things written down, or you can take a screenshot or whatever, I want you to look out for them in your day or in your night. So knowing is the first step. Having the conversation with yourself in your head about what's next is the next step. And my job is to listen closely to your unique situation and ask you the right questions to get you to the solution to a life where making healthful choices feels effortless. Where the conversations we're having in our head and the writing and the understanding and the reflection is a part of knowing yourself that well. And I do this through the energetic eating method, which is my 12-week signature program. So if you're tired of the eating habits, compulsive snacking, or nighttime eating, and this resonates with you, you're like, holy crap, this is like super different, then I want you to give me a call and book an empowerment call with me. It is free. You'll get some free coaching from me, and then we can decide if you're a good fit for the program. No strings attached. But I am looking for 2 more women to join me to wrap up 2021 and head into the new year as their best energetic selves. So if you want it to be you, now is really the time to book the call because I only have 2 more slots left for the rest of the year. Okay. If you guys have any questions about the work that I do or some of the things that I've said here tonight, then you can certainly leave them in the comments. I will stick around here and see if there's any questions you guys have for me in the comments here. I'll stay here for a minute or 2. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to book the call, which is in our group, but I'll go ahead and put it here for you to do that. So just let's book a chat. Okay. This is my specialty. This is what I do. It's my passion. It's what I love. And it's my pleasure to be able to at least explore with each and every one of you what obstacles are getting in your way. And if nighttime eating and compulsive snacking is a part of that and you're having a hard time, I'm the person you want to talk to. So book the call. Okay. Thank you guys so much for showing up today for yourselves and for me. So I'm not talking to myself. If you watch this on the replay, again, that link is available to you to book the call, and I will get back to any comments that are left here in the bottom. If you know anybody that could benefit from this, please invite them to the group. Let me let them in. This video is going to be here and stay here in the group, and it's my pleasure to be able to have this available to anybody who just comes in to hang out and is looking for a way to transform their lives through how they think, eat, and live. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks again for joining me.